my world and my life is not evolved around these movies. It's not, and I'm not trying to say, "Oh God, my world is crumbling." What's going on, the Nova Squad? Welcome back to the channel. So, a couple of days ago, Marvel actually had dropped the trailer of showing the casting of the next Avengers movie, which is Doomsday, whatever. Um, Honestly, man, for real, it's like, no, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of Marvel, but it's just I'm not really excited for this movie. Okay, again, like I did my, movie review on the Captain America Brave New World, whatever. And, in my own opinion, it wasn't really that bad. Like the only thing that I would say that the marketing team actually did mess up was tease that the Red Hulk was in the movie, because we all knew that the Red Hulk was going to be the leading point to the big bad of the villain, whatever. Like it was just like I feel like the whole announcement for the Doomsday trailer, like the marketing team has been trying to push this, like push this whole thing. Like, okay, we're gonna have so and so, and we're gonna have X, Y, and Z. It's getting to the point where they're spooling it, and I don't really understand why they think that it's gonna be like gravitating more people into it. Like, I feel like when you actually bring in people by exciting them, by giving the shock and all. Like we are missing the shock and all when it comes to these these Marvel movies. How it was back in the day, whatever. I do sound kind of flustered, but I'm just trying to stay focused on my words and whatnot. But yeah, I just don't think that this is going to be good. I hopefully it is. Um, yeah, but I don't know. Like I used to be excited for all these Avengers and Marvel movies and such. Like I'm just coming in like a meh, they just I don't know. But again, we're gonna be watching the critical drinkers a point of view when it comes to this whole Avengers Marvel thing. So he got tired of the Avengers Doomsday. Nostalgia is all they have left. Honestly, I kind of do agree with him and everything, but yeah, I just want to see what he has to say. Yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it.
It really has been a rough couple of years for the MCU, with an unpleasant combination of a multiverse story arc that never really got off the ground, disgraced stars that forced major course changes, box office flops, disappointing underperformers, and occasional isolated successes that were impossible to capitalize on. It's a franchise that's been drifting directionless ever since Endgame, with no clear narrative drive and nothing in particular to get excited about, and from the looks of things so far, 2025 isn't shaping up much better. What they really need is a good old Avengers movie. Something to reunite the scattered characters and wandering storylines of the MCU into one big blowout finale so that they can move forward into a bold new era of storytelling. And the thing in question is Avengers Doomsday, scheduled to release in May of next year. Well, actually, it's the first part of that thing. The second part is going to be Avengers Secret Wars in 2027, which, if the rumours are true, will basically act as the end game to Doomsday's Infinity War.
Honestly, though, it's like, why would you try to repeat that again? I mean, again, I do understand that Doomsday and the Secret Wars have done that before, like as far as the comic wise, but it's just the fact that we're pushing this whole thing going on, and then like throughout, only big hits that had happened after Endgame was, um, it was Spider-Man: No Way Home, the third movie of the Guardians of the Galaxy, um, the Wolverine and Deadpool movie, um, and then I kind of sort of liked um, Captain America: A Brave New World. Um, but yeah, like it just I just don't really get. Well, nah. If you want to include the actual Marvel shows off of Disney Plus, Loki was a banger, of course. Great storytelling. Love all the actors actually did their phenomenal job in that one. The Daredevil Born Again so far has been great. She-Hulk, shit. What else? What was the other show that I didn't really like. Oh, I didn't even see Echo. I heard it was okay, but I didn't see it because I didn't really care for the character, honestly. Eternal sucked. But yeah, just yeah.
Capping off the current era of Marvel movies and probably feeding into a soft reboot of the entire franchise. And not before time either. Now, because it's been quite a while since anyone got excited for anything MCU related.
Oh, also, Black Panther 2. I liked the movie. Was it the best? No, but it was the continuation of Chadwick Boseman, so you know, that's what it is.
It was vital that Marvel did everything they could to build up the anticipation for this one. So what did they do, you might ask? Did they release some kick-ass teaser trailer to get the audience pumped up? Did they give tantalizing hints about the exciting new direction they'll take with the story? Maybe even some interviews with the cast and director?
Wrong.
Nah, they just dropped a 5-hour live stream with a bunch of names on the backs of chairs.
Yeah, exactly. It was agony.
Fuck me, it's different, I guess. And to be fair, there's a pretty extensive list of names attached to this one. Sure, a lot of them are fucking nobodies from obscure movies that most of us can barely even remember.
Right.
Seriously, you need to stop trying to make Yelena happen. She's not going to happen. Neither is Shuri as discount Black Panther for that matter.
Discount crazy.
However, there are some big names in there too. Once again proving that every man has his price, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back after being away for more than half a decade, this time playing Victor Von Doom, which I'm sure totally isn't a cheap way of backdooring Tony Stark into the franchise.
Again, like, I do understand that there was a version of Tony Stark who was Doctor Doom, but it takes away the nostalgia, and on top of that, okay, again, before I do continue on with my thoughts, I do understand these are just movies. Like, my world and my life is not evolved around these movies. It's not, and I'm not trying to say, oh God, my world is crumbling. Like, I'm not doing all that. But what I am saying is, like, you know, as many other people would literally say that, oh, my life is just around here and such. Like, for the ones who actually grew up reading the comics and seeing this, is like a dream come true with most of these people, like most of the viewers and the consumers who actually, you know, watch and pay for all these various shows or whatever. But you bringing in the old and then trying to put it in the new, trying to bring back what you had lost. It's like, instead of you trying to push propaganda out there, you could just create a great story without even like trying to push it. But I don't know, like for Robert Downey Jr. coming back, yeah, of course it was a price on his bill, but what's a price on his check? But yeah, I just don't really understand. Like, they can't just figure out what should happen. But again, these are just movies. It's not evolving. It is not even, you know, shaping my whole world. I'm just saying, people like, you know, me who are actually fans of the Marvel, just, I don't know.
Again. If I was a cynical man, I'd say that old Robert here might have been missing those big Marvel paychecks lately, because his post-Endgame career hasn't exactly been jam-packed with box office smashes. The thing is, as awesome as he was back in the day, he's almost 60 years old now, and he kinda looks it, and I'm not really sure I want to see a stringy, washed-out, aging, veganized actor like him half-heartedly going through the motions for an easy payday. It's a bit like dragging your dad along to a Comic-Con dressed as some anime character he's never heard of and forcing him to pose for pictures with people a third of his age. I'm actually kind of surprised to see Chris Hemsworth coming back though, when he seemed to be pretty much done with Marvel after the disaster of Love and Thunder. I wonder what they've got in mind for him this time. Can't wait to see Thor go on another journey of self-discovery to find his true purpose in life for like the 5th time in the past decades. Pedro Pascal is also making an appearance in this movie, naturally, because he's in literally everything. In fact, I'm not entirely convinced he isn't in this room with me right now. Oh wait, that's just Tatiana. Shut up, I'll feed you when I'm goddamn good and ready! No sign of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, though.
Yeah.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
I mean, I know she's been overshadowed by people like Rachel Zegler in recent years, who did what she did, only bigger and faster and more retarded. But you know what? Brie did it before it was cool. She walked so that Rachel could fly, and I think she deserves closure, damn it. But the biggest surprise, if you can even call it that, was the contingent of old X-Men actors making an appearance in this film. And fuck me, I really do mean old. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, who are both well into their 80s now, are reprising their roles as Xavier and Magneto. So are Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romaine, and James Marsden. I wonder if Rebecca's gonna have the balls to get into that blue bodysuit again. And you can bet your left arse cheek that Hugh Jackman won't pass up an opportunity to play Wolverine again, even if he hasn't been officially announced yet. The thing is, haven't we done the whole bring back the X-Men actors for nostalgia bait routine like several times already? I mean, I like those actors as much as the next guy, and it feels like there's a growing nostalgia for that early 2000s era of superhero movies, but really, what are we trying to accomplish here?
Right.
Just another multiversal clusterfuck where we bash a bunch of toys from different franchises together and hope something interesting happens? And I guess that leads me into my main takeaway from this whole thing. It all just feels a little bit desperate. Just one big gimmick, baiting people into watching it for a chance to see their favourite character in action one more time. And the thing is, that's really not what the Avengers movies are supposed to be.
Fuck.
Films like this are supposed to be the culmination of a storyline that's been carefully building up for several years across multiple movies. It's the big release of dramatic tension that you need every so often, but the problem is, there is no dramatic tension in the MCU anymore because nobody seems entirely sure what the fuck's even happening in it. Captain America Brave New World mentioned at one point that the Avengers technically don't even exist anymore, and it took me a moment to realise, oh yeah, he's actually right there. It's been so long since any movie in the franchise actually addressed the state of the Marvel Universe that I'd stopped even thinking about it in those terms anymore. Much like Star Wars can't seem to make any new ideas work, Marvel is now forced to reference itself to generate interest in its new projects, drawing on the past to try to prop up the present. Like an old man with his best days long behind him, all the MCU can really do now is reminisce about happier times, when it was still young and cool and respected, when it was still doing great things, and people flocked to see its latest offerings on their own merits. As I said earlier, the consensus seems to be that a reboot of some kind is on the way for Marvel, and the two upcoming Avengers movies are going to act as kind of closure for the characters and stories that have been driving it since the very beginning. It's the kind of thing that...
Yeah, I mean, like, me personally is like, if they reboot the whole thing, like if they can reboot the whole entire franchise, make it for like at least like 8 years. Like, take a break. Like, just focus on the comic books, and then like don't make any movies. Like, I mean, 10 years is a long time, but like give it like a good like period, and then because like just jumping back into the swing of things, especially when from Endgame up to the continuation on the other characters, is like, yeah, some of the movies it was good. And then some of them were very needed as far as giving them their own solo stories, which I'm always down with a good solo story. But when you try to, just like Drinker has said, you seem very desperate when it comes to trying to milk out all of these stories. Marvel has a lot of stories inside of the comic books. And if you want to make them good, don't try to force it into, the big screen and then like not doing it the proper way. Like that's why I think Daredevil works, because you literally have time to flesh out the character and then understand the motives of through all the characters. Not just Daredevil, but like through the Punisher, Bullseye, Muse, especially Wilson Fisk, Kingpin. Especially the most recent episode when they were doing the whole it was a split screen showing Daredevil fighting and Kingpin fighting, and then they were going back into the darker side, and it was a great build-up. Like, that's the storytelling that Marvel should do. Instead of just like forcing it, then rushing everything. Now, you can criticize, the movies, however. But again, I'm saying all this, these movies and these shows don't run my life. But what I'm saying is, it gets really annoying when you're trying to push something that shouldn't really be there. As far as all these movies, and you don't even take the time trying to flesh out the characters and writing a great script. Like we should have had a Blade movie like 5 years ago, and it never happened because you guys kept pushing it, changing the dilemma. I want to say one of the scripts made Blade gay. Like, why would you? I mean, again, to each their own, but to do that, trying to make something new. There's plenty of other characters who are gay in the comics, can be a great character in the movies, but don't change a beloved character. Well, I feel like I'm going off the rails, whatever. I feel like I'm going off topic. My point is, it's just like, don't try to rush things to please other audiences. Just make a great story in general. Take your time. Literally, just go take your time.
The comics industry does from time to time when storylines have become so convoluted and unmanageable that the only thing left to do is wipe the slate clean and start again. And after almost 2 decades of movies and TV shows, hundreds of characters and crazy universe-changing events, the MCU really is sinking under its own weight now. That is an issue, but the sad reality is that its own audience has kind of outgrown it and moved on now. The kids who excitedly flocked to the cinema to watch that first Avengers movie back in 2012 are now adults in their 20s, probably have kids of their own by now, and don't really have the time or the energy to go watch superheroes fight CGI monsters. The MCU has been going for so long that it's become a generational franchise, but the problem is, I don't get the impression the younger generations are all that interested in it. It's why most of their attempts to pass on iconic superhero mantles to new characters and actors have ended in failure, because old audiences won't accept them and new audiences aren't interested in the first place. I think Marvel knows this too, which is why they're playing the nostalgia card so hard with this one. Time will tell whether it proves to be a winning hand, but personally, I don't like their odds.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Shoot. Like, what I feel like is like now, we are in a part in the era where like superhero movies aren't going to be as popular as they seem to be, which I am kind of sad about that, but a little bit is like, it had a great run. Yeah, it just, I don't know, man. I feel like I said everything that I wanted to say, as far as like, how I feel about this whole entire thing. But I don't know, man. Like, if you guys just take our time, just making a great movie, instead of just like focusing and then forcing something like the whole propaganda movement, and then you're changing characters, the sexes and races to try to please a smaller group of people. Like, it's just, I do understand you want to bring in different artists. I do understand that, but for the ones who actually are veterans into this, I'm pretty sure they're tired of this whole thing. Like, that's why no one is even like, excited about this. Like, that's why so many people were pissed off seeing that 5-hour live stream. I didn't see the live stream. I just seen, the sped up version because I had things to do. Pretty sure I was asleep or I was at work. One of the two. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. So, if you guys really enjoyed this reaction today, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comment section down below what you to react to next. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, my name is Russell, and I'll see you guys next episode. Peace!